Someone hands you a phone. There's a video playing. It's you. You're talking, laughing, being yourself. And then a voice comes out of the speaker. High, thin, nasal. A stranger's voice. Your first thought is the same one everyone has. I don't sound like that. But you do. You always have. Here's what nobody tells you. The voice you've heard your entire life. The one inside your head. Warm and full and yours. Almost no one else has ever heard it. Not your mother, not your best friend, not the person you love most in the world. They've only ever heard the recording. The thin one. The wrong one. That's the real you, and you can't stand it. Think about how strange that is for a second. You've spoken millions of words. You've comforted people, argued, whispered in the dark, and the whole time, there were two versions of your voice moving through the room. The one you heard, and the one everyone else heard. For your entire life, you've been the only person on earth hearing you wrong. Or maybe the only one hearing you right. We'll get to that, because the truth about which voice is real is stranger than you'd think. But first, you need to understand where the second voice comes from. And it's not the speaker. It's inside your own skull. When you speak, the sound goes two places at once. The first path is the obvious one. Your voice leaves your mouth. It travels through the air. It curves around and slips into your ears from the outside. This is the version the whole world receives. It's also the only version a microphone can catch. That's why recordings sound wrong. They're only telling half the story, because there's a second path. And this one never leaves your body. When your vocal cords vibrate, they don't just push air. They shake bone, your jaw, your teeth, the dense architecture of your skull. And that vibration travels straight through the solid parts of your head, directly to your inner ear. No air, no distance, no escape. This is called bone conduction. And here's the part that changes everything. Bone carries low frequencies better than air does. So the voice traveling through your skull arrives deeper, richer, fuller. Every time you speak, your brain blends the two signals together, the airborne voice and the bone-conducted one, into a single sound, a sound that is bassier and warmer than anything a microphone will ever capture. That blended voice is the one you fell in love with, the one you think is you, but it only exists inside your own head. Turn on a recorder, and the bone path vanishes. All that's left is the thin, airborne stranger. So the question becomes obvious. If the voice in your head is a blend, and the recording is just half of it, which one is actually you? Hold that thought, because the answer isn't the one you'd expect. We like to think the voice in our head is the true version, the original, the authentic one. But think about what it actually is. It's a private signal, a sound engineered by the shape of your own bones, a sound that no one else can ever hear. Every person who has ever known you has known the recording. The thin one, to your mother, that is your voice. To your oldest friend, that is your voice. The stranger on the speaker isn't a stranger to them at all. It's the only you they've ever met. So when you flinch at a recording, you're not hearing a distorted version of yourself. You're hearing yourself the way you truly exist, outside your own head, in the world, for the first time. That's why it feels so wrong. It's not that the recording is fake. It's that you're finally seeing the mask you didn't know you were wearing, and realizing everyone else has been staring at it your whole life. But there's still a problem, because unfamiliar doesn't fully explain the reaction. People don't just find their recorded voice surprising. They find it unbearable. They cringe, they wince, they ask you to turn it off. Unfamiliarity alone can't do that. Something deeper is happening, and it has nothing to do with sound at all. Scientists have a name for this feeling: voice confrontation. And when they studied it, they found something odd. People rated their own recorded voice as worse, less pleasant, less attractive than strangers rated the exact same recording. Listen again. Other people liked your voice more than you did. The same clip. So it's not that your voice is objectively unpleasant. It's that you can't hear it neutrally. Because a voice isn't just a sound. It's a fingerprint. It carries your age, your mood, your class, your origins, the parts of yourself you try to control, and the parts that leak out anyway. When you hear the private, skull-blended version, your brain has spent decades learning to ignore all of that. It's just background. It's just you talking. But the recording strips away the familiar warmth, and suddenly you hear everything you never noticed. The nervous pitch, the accent you thought you'd buried, the way you sound when you're trying too hard. You're not hearing a bad voice. You're hearing the gap between who you think you are and who you actually sound like to the world. That gap is the cringe. That's the whole thing. And it raises one final, uncomfortable question. If everyone else has been hearing the real you all along, then what happens the moment you finally accept it? Here's something strange about people who work with their voice. Singers, broadcasters, actors. At first, they hate their recordings too. Every one of them. But over time, something shifts. They stop flinching. They start hearing the recorded voice as normal, sometimes even preferring it, because they've done the one thing most people never do. They've listened, again and again, until the stranger stopped being a stranger, until the mask became the face. And this tells us something quietly profound. The voice you can't stand isn't fixed. It's just unfamiliar. The horror you feel is temporary, a startle reflex from a brain that's never met its own reflection. Play the recording enough times, and the alarm fades. The stranger becomes you, which means the cringe was never really about the sound. It was about recognition, the shock of meeting yourself as others meet you, and slowly, reluctantly, agreeing to become friends with that person. Because that person is who greets the world. Every phone call, every conversation, every I love you you've ever said out loud was delivered in the voice you can't stand. And it worked. People listened. People stayed. People loved you back. The stranger has been doing the most important job of your life without you ever trusting it. So the next time you hear yourself on a recording and your whole body wants to look away, try to stay with it. That thin, unfamiliar voice isn't a distortion. It's the truest thing about you. It's the version of yourself that has always lived out in the open, the one everyone else already loves. You've spent your whole life avoiding it. Maybe it's time that you finally, after all this time, said hello.